Hey folks, Twisher Christian here. Just want to give you guys a quick update on Zion Oil and Gas. Now, the stock currently right now is trading around $1 per share. And actually, I was kind of shocked that we did not get a bigger bounce out of the news. And when they did release the news, it was towards the end of the trading day yesterday. And then, of course, we had a jump here in the beginning of the day. And like I said, I was still expecting that big bounce, and maybe even up to $2, but we still have not seen that yet. And I don't know what's really going on. Maybe because of everything that's going on in the Washington and just all this craziness, people's focus is elsewhere right now. But I'm going to go ahead and go over the news about Zion Oil and Gas and kind of show you guys where we are at. Now, this is just going to be the short version. I will be doing a Patreon only version that's going to be a lot more in depth. And you can see exactly what I mean by the short-term and long-term investments, making sure you're learning how to trade, be able to trade on the highs and the lows. So it says here, Zion Oil and Gas spuds the Megiddo Jezreel #2 well in Israel. Zion Oil announced the spudding of the Megiddo Jezreel #2 MJO2 well in Israel. So I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I'm just gonna read the information that we need to know at this moment. Beginning at 8:24 CST, 16:24 in Israel, Zion Oil and Gas officially spudded the Megiddo Jezreel #2 well in Israel, which is an important 2021 milestone toward reaching our goals. The crew previously completed the deep monitoring well on MJ01 as mandated by the Israeli Water Ministry. During this period, the crew also underwent vigorous inspections from the Israeli ministries. All necessary permits to operate have been granted. After completing the deep monitoring well, the crew had to disassemble and move the rig to the new location for the MJ02 well. The crew worked diligently to rig up a second time and spud the well 16:24 Israel time on January 6, 2021. Despite all the uncertainty and ever-changing regulations and shutdowns, the crew has all the equipment and personnel in the country to complete the first two sections of the well. The remaining equipment is scheduled to arrive in port January 8th, with additional cementing, logging tools, and mud chemicals arriving as needed in advance of the final sections. The information that I read in this, and I told you before that this next update will kind of give us an idea exactly where they are at. Now, folks, really quick, I just want to share with you about the previous video that I did, and it's the Zion Oil exploratory drilling process. All right, you guys need to check out that video, because on that video, I go into depth and length and how long this process could take. All right, so one of the first things that is anytime that an oil company spuds a well, right, and I gave some timelines, which it can take. It could take months, it could take a few weeks. In the information that I put in that last video, it contains that the fastest times from spudding to actually selling the oil. And it's very possible that the drilling could complete within 3 weeks. And I presented that in the last video. So it could actually take 3 weeks. Now, as far as well testing, the information that I have here about well testing and how long it actually takes. And it says here, during well test, reservoir fluids are produced to the separator at varying rates according to predetermined schedule. These tests may take less than 2 days to evaluate a single well or months to evaluate a reservoir extent. All right, so there with the testing, whenever they reach their target, it's probably only going to take 2 days to figure out what's going on with that well. And then, of course, months to evaluate the reservoir. Now, of course, Zion Oil already has the 2D and 3D seismic testings that they did, and they have all that information, so they've already been looking over it for a long time. So I think that information may come a lot sooner than maybe a few months, just because they might be ahead of the game in that. All right, now, how long is it actually going to take, according to Zion Oil, to drill this well. And it says here the MJ-102 drilling plan, which anticipates 5 months to drill and test the well, was approved by the Ministry of Energy on July 29, 2020. All right, so folks, it's going to take 5 months, right? Up to 5 months. That's what they're saying, right? Now, in the information that I provided about drilling a well, and one of the things is that there's so many different factors that can influence that. And if you go back in the history of Zion Oil and look how long it actually took to drill MJ01, then you'll see what I'm referring to. So, and that's why I say I believe that the stock is going to go up and down for that simple reason. Some of you have said that you're going to hold on to your stock. You're not going to try to trade it or anything until they hit oil. If you are waiting for that, you might be waiting another 5 months. All right, so what a lot of people don't understand is that Zion Oil and Gas has already encountered oil. You can go back in history and take a look that it is there. They needed to drill deeper, and so that's what they're actually doing now. And so there are different factors in drilling, and I have shared that it can take just some studies that were done here in the United States, not necessarily done in Israel. I couldn't find any information on how long it takes to drill in that type of particular region. But in the United States, there is a lot of places where they do drill, and it does take a long time to get to those particular wells. But in some cases, in a study that was done, and it was from the time that they spud to the time they actually sell the oil, the average time frame was about 6 months. But to actually drill the well, and just because of technology has changed and the way that drilling techniques have changed, that they're actually able to drill much faster than they used to. So, and that's the whole thing, folks. The oil is there. They just have to get to it. And that's what they're doing right now. After 22 days, the way I look at it is that they could announce at that time that they have oil. The other point that I want to make is that back on July 31st, 2018, operational update regarding the testing of the MJ10 well. So one of the things to keep in mind that they've already tested MJ01. And so with that, they have a lot more information. They have a lot more background information on this area because they've already dug a well. So also too, if you look at as far as a timeline, when they were doing that testing, which was July 31st, and they expected hopefully to announce that within a few weeks from this particular date. Just to kind of give you guys an idea, this was after they were able to finish some of their testing. Right, this was back in August 16, 2018. It says here, Zion Oil and Gas confirms active petroleum system Megiddo and Jezreel #1 well in Israel. Additional testing is needed to evaluate reservoir potential. So there again, they have a lot of information already. But this is one of the things that you're going to learn as far as the barrels per day. And I talked about that. The well has to pump a certain amount of barrels per day, and the most the well could ever produce is 100,000 barrels a day from the information that I shared with you. And according to this one here, it just says that the data confirms the well artificially flows at a rate of approximately 90 to 110 barrels of fluid per day in the zone between 16,415 and 16,500. They weren't able to go deeper, or they didn't have enough funds to go deeper. I can't remember exactly what it was. So, and that's what we need is a higher barrels per day rate. The primary zones we have been testing are all located at the depths of greater than 16,000 feet. Every time we had to run in the hole and out of the hole took on average 4 days. So the drill that they currently have now is going to be able to go deeper than what they were able to do before, and we just believe that this is the beginning of their time. So I believe that. Now it's going to take some time, and the stock is probably going to fluctuate, and there's going to be news released that's going to be positive news, maybe about once a month. And if you go back in history, like I said, go back to 2017 and 18, you can see how long this process could actually take. But I think that because of Zion Oil has so much background information with their first well and all the seismic testing, I think things can move very quickly. And even though they plan on everything being 5 months, as far as the testing of the well, keep in mind that the information I just read to you, that it actually could take months to evaluate. So that might be a total of 5 months, including the drilling and everything, and the testing and the evaluation. And, maybe that's one of the reasons why we haven't seen a lot of money just come into Zion Oil, just because it is the spud date. The spud date can be important when you're investing in oil stocks. So we have to look at history, we have to look at the current technology, the type of testing that they're doing, which is mostly on site, and they already have a lot of background information. There might be some other news that we will get that will be positive news, and maybe once things kind of settle down in the political arena and people are focusing back on the stock market, that maybe this thing, who knows when this thing is going to take off. But we do need to take advantage of the ups and downs. All right, folks, I thank you for listening. I'm putting out another video concerning what's going on, and that should come shortly after this one. Thanks for listening. Thank you for your support. And with that being said, Twitch the Christian out.